Hello my friends and welcome to the aftermath of the Infinite Impermanence, where I show off the rarity that I got for the Infinite Impermanence, and I'll go through each of the secret packs that I unlocked through all of those 10 pack openings. Through the openings of those 10 packs. Anyway, let's start with seeing what rarity the Infinite Impermanence is. Now, some of you may realize that the Infinite Impermanence can only be one rarity. Will always be the same rarity from said set. But I'm not exactly sure for certain. So I'm going to check it right now. It is kind of anticlimactic though if you can never get higher than just the base rarity for it. Okay. Looks like it is just a base rarity. Yeah. It would show otherwise. Okay, well, so that one I can't dismantle since I got special from the set. But I can still dismantle any of my other three that I have, which, I mean, I should dismantle one of the four of the ones I can dismantle, but I'm not gonna do it right now. The reason for it is because if they decide to put Infinite Impermanence on some kind of ban list later on, we already saw how they do it with cards for that, for like the first list, where like if they do that, they raise the dismantle cost to basically equal the generate cost. And then if it's glossy or like the glossy finish or the highest finish, keep forgetting what that highest finish is. Royal finish, that's what it's called. It's a little bit higher than the generate cost. So if you wait, if you don't need to, so how I'm gonna say it is, if you don't need to dismantle a certain card, if you have extras of a certain card, if you don't need to dismantle it, you might as well not. And another thing that you can do, that you can use, another way you can use the putting cards on the ban list to your benefit is if they say if you wanted like a higher rarity of like a fractal, for instance, if you wanted to get that royal finish, what you could do is, for example, he went to semi-limited on the previous ban list, and so they raised the dismantle cost to make it like 30, and that's for the base one. So what you can do is you can keep dismantling and generating multiple copies until you get the highest rarity of it. And you can even do that, and where that gets really good is when they put ultra rares on the ban list as well. And then you can do that for something like Infinite Impermanence, or like if Thoroughblade got on the ban list, or if Trident got on the ban list, as long as they're not completely banned. So like maybe Trident is a very good example, but let's say if like Thoroughblade went to 2, you could do it with him, and Thoroughblade's really good to do it for, because he's already kind of expensive to keep dismantling and generating. But if you're getting the exact same amount from generating as with dismantling, then you might as well keep doing it until you get the highest rarity. But you kind of gotta be quick about it, because it's for a limited time, and I can't, unless they make it so that if you craft a, unless they already have countermeasures against that, where if you craft, let's say where if you would have like crafted, like let's say the fractal, if they would have made that card that you just crafted during that window, they made it so that you would be dismantling it for less, because they see what you're trying to do. But I'm not sure if they really can do that. And there's like ways around that as well. Like you could like craft a bunch of copies. Like if you, since they tell you in advance what's gonna be hit, you can like craft a bunch of copies in advance if you if you don't need to really spend that CP on anything else, just to get ready for it. And then you're kind of still doing the same thing, just maybe like with a little bit like more limiting restrictions still, just because you may have not had like infinite CP in the first place, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's just something I thought about it. I was just too slow on the fractal. Otherwise, I could have done it for fractal and got him to like glossy. So it kind of stinks. At least now I can. I don't think I'm gonna dismantle any of my 3 here though, just in case fractal does go off the list once again, because it could happen. They put him on the list, but they can take him off. Never know. Anyway, that's just like some tip that I thought of. I hope it helps some of you. Because that's not something I thought of at first. Yeah. Anyway, now I'll get to secret packs. So yeah, it looks like the cards you get from those special bundle sets always going to be the lowest rarity. So that kind of stinks. Oh well. Unless like I just got unlucky every time. Anyway, okay, good. It doesn't look like I have very many secret packs to go through. If I get through these early enough, I'll go through like the norm packs and show you a little bit more from these, because I didn't go through these in depth yet. These are all the new ones. I don't believe I went through. Maybe the Ruler's Mask and Beyond Speed I did, but the Refined Blade and the Fusion Potential I didn't. Oh man, and Fusion Potential only has 6 days left on it. That's crazy. Maybe because it was special for the Fusion Festival. That's cool though. Oh, that's another place you can get the Predator Plants. I didn't even realize. That's cool. Anyway, let's... I gotta go through the secret packs here. Got plenty of time left. I'm probably not going to be opening any of these, but I'll show you the cards. So, featured cards. I don't want to click on cards including the pack, because it will just basically show me every card in existence, since the cards including this pack are technically all the cards. Yes, he's all 6,870. So you want to go to featured cards to see the ones that you can get from the featured side. Okay, so I'll go featured cards. Okay, so yeah, it looks like so I'll go through them all real quick and I'll talk about it a little bit. I think that's how I'm gonna do it this time around. I think that's how I'm gonna do it with secret packs from now on. Going through each of the cards one at not talking about them, just cycling through them for those of you who want a better look and want to pause, and then I'll talk about the most notable ones, or at least the most notable ones in my opinion. Maybe going in depth on a few of the really notable cards. Anyway, I'll cycle through all of these one at a time. And you can feel free to pause on any of these if you want a better look at any of their effects. Okay. So, okay, based on what I saw, it looks like this secret pack is really good. It basically has any of the Blue Eyes support cards you could want, or official Blue Eyes cards. It's also got the Chaos Max Dragon, the Spirit Dragon. It's got I think you want to play 1 or 2 Spirit Dragons, so you definitely want to pick that up. Chaos Max Dragon is only really used if you want to play that Chaos Max variant, but you can always play without him. You don't need to go down the ritual route for this deck. The cool thing about Blue Eyes is there's different ways to play. You could either play like a more of a Synchro-esque Blue Eyes deck. Now they may not be the same power levels, but the all sort of viable in the metagame. So, and then Alternative, though, is a really good Blue Eyes card. I think you only want one of him, though, since he can only be special summoned once per turn. And his effect on the field... Well, his effect is soft once per turn, so if you have more than one, then you can use, like, multiple of his effects. But I still say probably just playing one I mean, do people play more than one? I mean, Duel Links you only play one, but I guess that's because that your deck size is also lower. Maybe playing 3 is an okay idea since the deck size is a little bit high and you may not see it as often as you would in Duel Links just playing 1. So I guess you could like look it up. I'm not exactly sure on the ratio, but I know like you want to at least play one of him. You definitely want to play him at least at 1, maybe more. Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon, probably best playing him at 1. I believe there are ways to special summon him from your deck. And of course with Bingo Machine Go, you can always search him since he is a Blue Eyes monster. So yeah. Oh wait, no, actually no, you can special summon him because you can special summon him via White Stone of Ancients. So yeah, you really only need to play one of him, and that's only if you're playing with the fusion monsters. So if you're going so yeah, you can also go down the fusion route, and this guy makes the fusion route pretty viable. At least in my opinion. He has some pretty good effects. Also allowing you to search for a level 8 or higher dragon, which allows you to search for a Chaos Max Dragon, so you could even play this in the same deck as you would Chaos Max Dragon since he can search for it. You can also search for alternative White Dragon, or you can't do Dragon Spirit of White. Well, no, I think you can search for Dragon Spirit of White, yeah, because it's treated as a Blue Eyes everywhere. And then you can also search for, of course, a normal Blue Eyes monster too. So yeah, I think he's good. Oh, also you can play. Yeah, see, it can either be a ritual or a polymerization. So yeah, you can play him in either the fusion deck variant deck or the Chaos Max variant deck, and he works in both because his effect allows for either or spell. So that's really cool. But you can't search for super polymerization because it has to be the original. But yeah, still pretty good. And then Bingo Machine Go. I would say definitely you probably want to play this at 3. Because it's basically a search for a Blue Eyes monster or a spell or trap that specifically lists Blue Eyes White Dragon, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. I believe it lets you search for Chaos Form. Wait, no, it doesn't. Wait, no, that's not it. Oh, I guess it doesn't allow you to search for Chaos Form. Oh well. You can at least search for Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon off of it, since it's a Blue Eyes monster. But yeah, it's still really good. Definitely play at 3. And a way you can like guarantee a search is by just picking 3 of the same. Yeah. And then Azure Eyes, probably want to play at least one of him. He's probably fine at 1. I mean, I guess you don't necessarily need to use any of the Blue Eyes related exec monsters. You can always just go down like a simple like rank gate route, or I don't think it works very well with links though, but I mean maybe you could try it. You could maybe try tagging these in with like a Dragon Link deck and trying that out, but the standard Dragon Link deck is probably better. Anyway, here's the Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. Here's Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, which can be used with Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon. I think both are fairly good. So maybe, so you can decide what you want to do there. Dragon Spirit of White is also pretty good. You probably want to play one of this because it can be special summoned off of White Stone of Ancients. And it's good for getting rid of back row. It only banishes 1, but hey, banishing is a pretty good form of removal when it comes to back row, especially with spells and traps that have floating effects. Sage with Eyes of Blue, also pretty good. It helps search for other level 1 like tuners. And also it can help with special summoning Blue Eyes monsters from your deck. So it's another way of being able to bring out the Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon and set up either your ritual plays or your fusion plays. Deep Eyes White Dragon, probably not as good. I don't think you really need to use that. Destined Rival. Destined Rival seems pretty good. But you might just want to play Dark Ruler No More instead. But, I mean, maybe you can play alongside Dark Ruler No More, because I believe they both have their strengths and weaknesses. All you have to really do is control a Blue Eyes White Dragon Dark Magician, and since it's a normal trap, you can search it out via Trap Trick, which helps give it some points as well. True Light. You probably want to play 3 of this. It has a downside, but it has some pretty good effects. So maybe like only play it if you need to. Otherwise, maybe it's better to not play it because it only destroys all your monsters if it's face up. So maybe you could wait and see if your opponent's going to destroy your back row before changing to face up defense. I mean changing it to face up position. Or maybe just like use a second effect if you like chain it, like activate it to use a second effect if you don't have like monsters, either monsters you care about on the board, or if you know your opponent's going to destroy them anyway. Or like if like maybe you have monsters that are immune to destruction or something like that. Yeah. And Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon is pretty notable because it's good for it's also usable with that one 10-Yi card that acts as a that has that 10-Yi card that is a counter trap that's a multi-negate that also has the effect where when it's, I believe, destroyed and sent to a graveyard, maybe just sent to a graveyard, or maybe just when it's sent to anywhere by an opponent's card effect, while it's on the field, you can special summon a normal monster from your normal fusion from your X deck. No, I think it's no monster from X deck. Yeah, this is like the best option. This is what I was talking about. But it's only a rare, so you can always just craft it. It's probably better just to craft it if you're not planning to play Blue Eyes from this secret pack. And then Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon is also kind of good, but it's hard to say if it's really better than Chaos Max Dragon. It might be just better off playing that. Whitestone of Legend can also be pretty good. Maybe even play that at 3. And then Maiden, think maybe you could play Mania at 3. Blue Eyes Solid Dragon, I mean, you could maybe play that. I'm not sure how neat it is. Definitely don't play that one or Assault Wyvern. I don't think they're very good. Chaos Form, a must-have at 3, along with Chaos Max Dragon pretty much being a must-have at 3. You want as much consistency as possible with the Chaos Max deck. Because like that's pretty much your main win condition, I would say. I mean, it doesn't have to be though. You can always like mix and match, but you probably want to play both at 3. And then Successor Soul. That might be a good one. You might want to consider playing that as well. Strength of Uni, I'm not sure about that. Crystal Avatar, probably not. Paladin of White Dragon, probably not. Codman, I don't think so. I don't think any of these Eyes of Blues you need to really play. It's pretty much just the Maiden, the Sage, the 2 Eyes of Blues that are really good. White Dragon Ritual, probably not. The Burst Stream, probably not. Mausoleum. Mausoleum is another good one because it allows you to target a monster you control. And when it has really good synergy with Maiden because when she's targeted, you get to special summon Blue Eyes from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Yeah, so and then when it targets it, you send a normal monster from hand deck. So you get the mill basically, and you also get to special summon via the Maiden's effect. So you probably want to play 3 Mausoleums and then maybe a few Searchers for it as well. Like maybe 3, maybe 2. I mean, maybe you could just do 2 and then maybe like Terraforming and or Metaverse, something like that. But I just know like that's a pretty good one. The synergy is pretty good. Dragon's Flying Span, I don't think so. That one, probably not. Probably not that one either. I mean, this one maybe you could play it at. Actually, since you get to send a Blue Eyes from your hand or deck to graveyard, this might be good, like to protect yourself. Like if your opponent is about to get game with like a specific monster, you can maybe close off the attack of that monster. It can maybe come in clutch. I'm not sure if you want to play more than one, if anything, though. Rage with Eyes of Blue is pretty risky, but it does allow you to special summon 3 copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck. But you have to have all 3 copies of that original normal monster in your deck. So if you're gonna play this, probably definitely just play 1, because like if you have only 2 in the deck, you can't even use it. So it can be dead sometimes. So that's why you probably only want to play 1, if any. And then the Ultimate Creature of Destruction basically helps protect one of your Blue Eyes from being affected by card effects, except its own. It gives it some pretty good protection, and also it can set itself back to the field. And one thing to note is that it can also make it so that it's protected against the negative of True Light too. So if you have a really good monster on the field and your opponent's about to destroy True Light and you want to activate it for the second effect, you can't set this one then be able to activate it. I'm not sure if you even can choose. Yeah, no, you can. I believe you can, but you just can't active. No, you can't because. No, you can because it does list Blue Eyes White Dragon in its effect somewhere on the card. So you can set it, you just can't activate it. But it is a normal trap, so it can be searched via trap trick too. So that's kind of notable. But yeah, if you already have it on the field, you can activate True Light and then chain this in response to target one of your blue eyes that were already on the field, and protect it against True Light's destruction effect. So yeah, that's kind of noble. Anyway, I'll go through the next one. Okay, so here. Okay, so I'll go through once again each one, cycle through one at a time. I guess I took a little bit longer than I thought on that, but it's only because I really like Blue Eyes. There's also because one of my friends really likes Blue Eyes, so I know quite a bit of about Blue Eyes through him, and he had me helping him with a few decks, so I already know a few of the cards pretty well. And another notable thing about Blue Eyes is that I think it's pretty cool. Is you can play it with that one Numeron card, that Numerous Numeronian or whatever it's called, that gives itself a bunch of attack. You can basically set yourself up with a combo where you can basically OTK your opponent off of the Numeronian's effect. So yeah, there's a way. So if you're interested in maybe seeing what that combo looks like, seeing like how to build that kind of Blue Eyes deck, you could look up the combo and maybe the cards needed for that, and then you could either follow a deck list that's already there, or maybe like make something of your own. You could probably just like make an engine for when you can, but maybe it's not like your main win condition. But it's a pretty cool win condition in my opinion. Anyway, I'll stop with that, and I'll get to this next secret pack, which was called Colossal Mech. Okay, so it looks like this secret pack is pretty much all mostly focused on gimmick puppets and the Dyson cards, and a lot of machine cards. So some of the notable cards here, of course, most of the gimmick puppet stuff, if you want to play that deck. I'm not as familiar with it, but I think some of the better cards for that deck are which junk puppet? Maybe this one, since it allows you to special summon a gimmick puppet from your graveyard. That could be good. Maybe Puppet Ritual could also be pretty good when you have the life points. So maybe only playing one of it, but I think there are ways of your opponent's life points have to be higher, so it might be a little bit hard to activate it, but when you can, it's pretty good. So maybe you only play one of it though, because of the slightly hard activation requirements. This would probably also be pretty good, since a lot of decks like to special summon stuff from the X deck, so you should be able to get at least a few mills with this card. And a few of them have some pretty good graveyard effects, so getting some of them in the graveyard is certainly pretty good. And then Puppet Parade is probably also pretty good since it special summons from the deck. And it's also, of course, noble since it's a normal trap, and there's a few good cards for that work with normal traps, like Trap Trick, and that Lilith, Lady of Lament, is also a pretty good one for that. Probably not Trap Trick though, because you kind of need a lot of traps in order to make a lot of normal traps in your deck to make him work. Resurgam Exceed, probably not. Perform Puppet, I don't know about that one. Make a Magic Argent Chaos Force, I'm not sure. I don't really I'm not too familiar with a lot of these cards, but Gimmick Puppetry Doll I think is pretty good, since it allows you to special summon her from the graveyard. Planet Pathfinder is also a pretty noble card for this secret pack, not because of the gimmick puppets, but because it allows you to search for a field spell, and this is usually used in that True Draco deck, most notably in the festivals where they put a little bit more restrictions on the deck. But also it's pretty good in general for the True Draco deck and any other deck that doesn't really need their normal summon, if you just want another way to search out the field spell. I think Gimmick Puppet Humpty Dumpty is also pretty good since it offers a special summon. Maybe Deep Space Cruiser 9. I mean, is a level 9, so it does work with a wait, no. I don't know. Maybe not. That's more for these like level 9. I believe there's like, that's more for like the level 9 stuff. Are there any level 9 stuff in here? Yeah, this one. Oh, that's a gimmick puppet, but this is probably not going to be used, I don't think. So yeah, if you want to like look up a gimmick puppet deck on your own, you can feel free. But like there are some pretty notable cards in here. But of course the rares and lower gimmick puppets you can always just craft. So you don't necessarily need to go in here for them. And by the time you get the higher rating ones, you'll probably have plenty of the lower rating ones that you can like mix and match until you like find the best ratios, if you'd rather like experiment on your own instead of looking up a deck list. Even though it's a little bit more risky in my opinion, since if you think like, oh, for example, 3 gimmick puppet Bistalls are good, which it seems pretty good since it has a way to special summon itself, so you probably couldn't go wrong with 3 of those. But like for example, like, and that like later on you decide Bistall at 3 is actually not very good, you kind of wasted a lot of either gems or CP in order to get 3 of it when you didn't even need 3. So that's where like kind of the little bit of riskiness when it comes to experimenting comes into play. But if you like to, like, you can feel free to go ahead. Just as long as you understand the risks when it comes to like experimenting versus just simply looking up a deck list. Anyway, at least that's like my opinion. But I think it sounds about right. Of course, there's also can be problems when it comes to looking up deck lists. Maybe you look up the wrong deck list and you decide, I don't really like this deck list, so I want to try a different one. Well, then you may have to like. But I still feel like, even if you even at the risk of like having to go with another deck list, it's still probably a lot more safer, just because the person who created the deck list, especially if you like get one from a person who reached diamond with it, it's probably gonna end up being pretty good. Anyway, but I definitely can understand, like, if you create yourself, you're more likely to like know the combos. So there's also that. Anyway, so, and then also, Amphibious is also pretty notable from this secret pack. It's a good card for, it's a good card for allowing you to special summon Link 3s or lower. from your graveyard. So yeah. Also, Cloud Castle pretty noble for Virtual World. Okay. Anyway, I'll go to... Okay, so Warp Speed Toys. I went through this when I, during the Synchro Festival. Or something. But I definitely remember going through the secret pack before. I'll still show off the, stuff real quick. But I won't go as into detail since I'm pretty sure I showed this one before. Or did I? Did I? I'm not sure if I remember all these cards, but you should like be able to understand a few of these cards because of when I showed off that Speedroid Loner deck duel. So of course the Speedroid card's pretty noble if you want to build a Speedroid deck. And then other notable cards that are good in other decks as well. Probably Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon is probably the best one here. But Clear Wing Synchro Dragon is also not too bad. It's probably any of these Clear Wings or Crystal Wings are pretty good. Also, Bear I think is one of the better Speedroid cards that are used in more than just Speedroid decks, just because it has that second attack, which is pretty good, and it can give itself more attack every time it battles, so that's pretty notable as well. Then High Speedroid Rubber Band Shooter, anything? I mean, this might also be a good card, like if you're playing like a wind deck. Not just Speedroids. And then, of course, a few of the Speedroid card, like main deck monsters, are also pretty good in other non-Speedroid decks. Like Terratop is probably one of the best cards that can be used in basically like rank 3 spam decks or maybe like link spam decks even. Along with Tack and Tomborg, because they work pretty well together since Speedroid Terratop can search for Attack of Tomborg when it's normal special summon. And then Attack of Tomborg can special summon itself while you control a wind monster, which Terratop is wind, so pretty good. Okay. So now the next one is called Invulnerable Iron Wings. You always saw a few of these. Wait, no, I guess you didn't, because I didn't actually play the Raid Raptor Exceed deck. But I did play against it a few times in that festival. I remember that. So I'll just go through all of these. Cycle through all one at a time here. But I don't think I saw this secret pack yet. Yeah, and then this is a secret pack that has a bunch of the rank up magic. But it's more or less the rank up magic to bring out the Raid Raptors, I would assume. Although I think a few of these can be used for other type of plays, not just like Raid Raptor plays. Maybe not some of the but like maybe like you can target like this one. No, this one. You can actually target a non-Raid Raptor Exceed monster in order to special summon a Raid Raptor that is one rank higher than that target. So you could maybe do something with that outside of like a Raid Raptor deck. And then this one, I believe you don't. This one works for Phantom Knights as well. So maybe you can do something with that in like a Phantom Knight deck. And then this one's probably a pretty good one for Raid Raptors. Raid Raptor Call is probably a pretty good 3 of. Maybe Tribute Lanius as well. Some of them more. Of course it makes sense because like these are the higher rarities, and usually the higher rarity cards are a pretty good statement of like what are the better ones that can be played at 3. But sometimes even the lower rarities can be but like also some of the lower rarities can be really good in their own right as well, so that's not always the case. Just because a card's like normal rarity doesn't mean you shouldn't play it. And then of course Ultimate Falcon is also pretty notable because this can be brought out via Waking the Dragon. It's a pretty good Waking the Dragon target. So it's pretty much maybe if you're playing Phantom Knights, maybe look into a few like this rank up Magic Force and see if you want to play that. Maybe you can go for that if for Phantom Knights, if you want to go down that route. Or you can just get the ultimate get the secret pack, try to get the Ultimate Falcon from here before you Awaken the Dragon plays. Anyway, I gotta go through these a little bit faster because I'm kind of starting to run out of time here. Of course, like always, I'll finish it with a Legacy pack, multi-pack opening. So yeah, okay, so I'll go through these one at a time. Oh yeah, and of course the Mecha Phantom Beast O-line was what got me this secret pack. For those of you who remember that from the last Let's Play. And even though I'm putting this out on Monday, technically I upload this on Saturday. No, Friday, sorry. So a few days before the operation, so hopefully I can get this out there, and if I can, that means you'll know I'm okay. So I want to get it out there as soon as I can after the operation to let you know, to kind of as kind of a note that I'm okay. I probably will end up being okay because like it's not, even though it's not a serious operation, but who knows, like sometimes things can happen. But hopefully nothing does. Usually nothing does. I've gotten pretty lucky throughout my life. And also the reason I'm kind of worried though is because it's gonna be a unique operation for me. It's something that I never experienced, but I don't want to go into too much detail about it. I want to kind of keep it on the down low. I'm only telling some people the whole details. Anyway, Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon is a pretty notable card in this secret pack for the whole Crystron Needle Fiber combos, usually played in there alongside Mecha Phantom Beast O-Lion in kind of that same deck. But maybe like other tuners can also be playing that deck depending on what's available. I'm not exactly sure what all is available in Master Duel, but yeah, pretty notable. And of course O-Line also, as I said. Draco Sack is really good for Virtual Wolves, I believe. And even if not for Virtual Wolves, like pretty much any deck that can put out level 7s, because this is a pretty good card that can get you a few tokens for link plays. And then Machina Fortress and Machina Citadel are pretty good. Some pretty good boss monsters for the Machina deck. And I bet a few of these other cards also pretty good for the machine deck. But if you want to know more details on that, maybe you can like look up a little bit more information there concerning machinas. I'm sure you can get some tips. Like if you don't want to look up a full deck list, there are other websites that will give you a few tips on like good cards to run in a machina deck, or you could like always just use a machina deck list as guidance instead of just like basically copying and pasting the list. Or you can even like do mix and match where you play the deck list for a little bit until you figure out the deck and then come out with your own variant of the deck. So I'll go through the next one. Okay, so this is another one. I know I showed this a few times, so I'll try to be quick with this one as well. Okay. So this is a deck where pretty much if you want to play Ancient Warriors or Fairy Tale stuff, like this is the deck for that. Also Gold Moon Coin if you want to like kind of like play as a meme like card. Some people play this in Exodia trying to make the opponent win. Of course it's not a good deck when you're trying to make your opponent win, but if you're into that kind of thing, like you want to just have fun with Master Duel a few times, you can maybe pick a few of that. Of course, you can always just craft a Gold Moon Coin. And I wouldn't recommend it unless you really want to, because that deck can get kind of expensive. And then Gingerbread House can be kind of good for just a more casual card. It's kind of fun watching your opponents like grow in power and then like basically destroying themselves when they reach enough attack. But yeah, it's not like a really good card though. But a few of the more notable cards is Golden Castle of Stromberg. Really good in Grand Marju, really good for Fairy Tale builds. Since they can special summon their monsters straight from the deck. Usually a special summoning oh wait, no, usually a special summoning Princessin, so you can special summon Pumpkin Carriage also from your deck using her effect. And then you're equipping her with glass slippers, and then you're doing like that like kind of combo where you no, I think like wait, what does Pumpkin Carriage do? Forget. There's Pumpkin Carriage. Oh yeah, it allows her to. Oh yeah, and if it's equipped to a non-fairy, it can attack and loses 1,000 attacks. So like really, you can do Princess and then using her effect, you can re-equip Glass Slippers to one of your opponent's monsters, in order to make it, unless it's a fairy, which fairies aren't very like aren't one of the most common types. So you'll probably be able to pull it off quite a bit. So like you should be able to make it so that your opponent's monster can attack and lose 1,000 attack. And even if like you are faced with a fairy deck, there might be like other cards on your opponent's field that aren't fairies that you can maybe equip to. But you can always choose not to re-equip it to a different card if you don't want. Glyph is also another good card for the deck because it acts as a searcher for Golden Castle, and it has the effect where like when it's normal special summon, you get to destroy one of your opponent's backbone, and then you can like always special summon this out from the graveyard. I mean this out from the deck using the Golden Castle effect. And then Snow also really good for like Grimoire, for some frog variants. Like I'm playing that 60 card Paleozoic frog deck. Also for other 60 card variants as well. It's just good in a lot of decks. Probably most notably Grimoire, Metaphys, Thunder Dragons can make the most use out of her. And then Ancient Warriors, not only is it good in the Ancient Warriors deck, but it's also pretty good in the Tri-Brigade deck because they can cheat out, and it's a pretty good effect on field. Okay, so now I'll go to the next one, Dragonite Gorge. Okay, I won't be able to go into the other packs. I'll have to do that a little bit later, but hopefully I'll still be able to get to Legacy pack opening. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, so probably the most notable card here is Ice Dragon's Prison. Because it's really good for the Paleozoic deck, or like any other deck that runs like Trap Trick, or likes to play their trap cards like Altergeist, because it has a really good effect. And then Dragon Ravine is also really good for like the Dragon Link deck. Of course, the Dragoonies also like to play it. Blue Eyes is also pretty good in Blue Eyes as well, because of that send one dragon from your deck to a graveyard effect. And then of course this secret pack is also good if you want to play the Dragoonies. Also Romulus is played in that Dragon Link deck as well. So, but that's a rare, so you can always craft it, of course. Okay. Go through the okay, and then here's the last one. Kind of gotta be a little bit quicker since I'm really running out of time now. Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay, so looks like this one is really heavy on the spell books. I don't think so. Maybe like you could combine with this with some other spellcaster decks. I'm not sure though. Like I'm not sure if Magician Pendulum would combine spell books, but maybe you could, since I think some of these work with like, yeah, some of these also work with like other spellcaster type monsters being on the field. I'm not sure if Altergeist has spellcasters, but I don't usually see Altergeist combine the spell books. But I mean, if you want to play more for fun, it might be cool to try it out, see what you can combine this with. But like it doesn't really seem like there's very like there's really any like really notable competitive cards in this secret pack. This is probably one of the weaker ones. But like a few of the notable cards if you're running a spellbook deck are of course probably the Crowley, probably the spellbook Magician and Prophecy, because it allows you to search for, because it searches for any spellbook spell. And then Spellbook of Secrets is a really good spell. Spellbook of the Master, Spellbook of Fate has some really good effects. Probably Spellbook of Knowledge as well. Maybe like one of that. I'm not sure. Maybe Spellbook of Power, because it gives a little bit of a boost to your spellbook monsters. Spellbook of Eternity also really good. and all of those, or at least the secrets, Master Fate and Eternity could probably be all used at 3 each, just because they're so good. Anyway, and then that pretty much covers that. Okay, so now, for those of you who want to stay for a legacy pack, I don't have very much time, but so I'm gonna have to skip through it, but I'll just quickly open like 10. But I do have to skip because I am really running out of time, so I don't have time to do them one at a time. But for the rest of you who aren't staying for this, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that notification bell for mostly weekly content, so sometimes I do special things like this if I have to. Usually if like I'm on a time crunch somehow, I may put one in more than a week, but I always try to keep the Let's Plays once a week. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video, and for the rest of you, here's the pack opening. So I'll just skip through it as I said. Ooh, so I got quite a few new ones. That's cool. Pendulum Area, Archfiend Zombie Skull, Fusionist, Allure Queen level 5, Frost and Flame Dragon, it's a glossy, nice. Beastly Mirror Ritual, My Body as a Shield, Hard the Underdog, Earth Chant, Electric Snake, Pandemonium Watchbear, Destiny Hero Defender, Vice Berserker, Magio Shalion, Artifact Fail Knight, Hurricane, Dancing Elf, Order to Charge, Cross Attack, Starlight Starbright. Okay, I want to look at this real quick. If all monsters you control are pendulum monsters, minimum 1, target 2 cards in pendulum zones, destroy both cards. If you do, neither player can special summon for the rest of the turn, except by pendulum summon. And that's kind of cool. But usually, like, you don't really want to play that, because usually pendulum decks would play more than just pendulums. But, like, maybe if you can afford to destroy the cards in pendulum zones, and you can afford not to only special summon pendulum, via pendulum summon this turn, it might be worth playing. I mean, that's a pretty good lockdown. Oh, wait a minute. If it's your opponent's turn, it wouldn't really matter. So that might actually not be that bad of a card if you're like playing a pendulum deck. So maybe a pretty good one. But I think my favorite card out of the bunch here is the Defender, just because I remember playing this back in the day. I always thought like the 2700 defense is kind of cool, even though it has a kind of a drawback. But I think it was a pretty good card for back in the day. Because of its high, I always just liked how high its defense was. That was really big for level 4. It still is pretty big for level 4 though. Though definitely not play nowadays, because usually like defending isn't really good enough. Okay. So I hope, so for those of you who stayed for the, multi-pack opening, please also let me know what was your favorite card or favorite sets of cards, and let me know why, for each or just for the one if you only chose one. I hope the rest of you who stayed for the multi-pack opening enjoyed, and if you did, please let me know that you did down in the comments, either by commenting your favorite card or just by simply letting me know that you stayed for it. Thank you all who stayed for the multi-pack opening. Bye.